Well, hi there, and welcome to Time to Talk Traumatic Brain Injury, the podcast by survivors for the entire brain injury community, helping you live a more productive, healthy, and happy life. One of the best ways to know and understand the events of our lives and their impact on us is by having a centuries-old, uniquely human, and innate skill that we all have: storytelling. Constructing stories is a natural human process that helps individuals to understand their experience and themselves. This process allows one to organize and remember events in a coherent fashion while integrating thoughts and feelings. In essence, this gives individuals a sense of predictability and control over their lives. Once an experience has structure and meaning, it would follow that the emotional effects of that experience are more manageable. Following a brain injury, whether mild, traumatic, or non-traumatic, your life and world change. There's a great deal to make sense of. Constructing stories facilitates a sense of resolution, which results in less rumination and eventually allows disturbing experiences to subside gradually from conscious thought. As a person with brain injury, you have been hurt and traumatized by something most people haven't experienced and can't understand. You now must deal with a number of challenges you never expected or imagined. One major challenge you face is making sense of a life disrupted and perhaps altered forever. Another is being accepted as a person who still has value and whose life still holds meaning and purpose. Since every brain injury is as unique as who experienced it, you will face individual hurdles. However, no matter how many challenges your brain injury creates for you, one thing is certain: you have a new story to tell. To start off the 2024 Time to Talk Traumatic Brain Injury podcast, we thought it would be a real treat to give you some personal journaling entries from brain injury survivors of the Blue Sheet Clubhouse. Now, this entry is from a survivor that would like to remain unanimous. However, it is very, very powerful, and I think you'll get a lot out of it. It is called Add These to Your List. Enjoy this journal entry to start our podcast this year.
Over these last 10 years, I have accumulated many pages of do's and don'ts, even though I fretted about never following my own advice because, well, I survived this long doing so many things wrong, but that doesn't mean you have to as well. I imagine that other head injury survivors might consider me as a warrior that has conquered such devastating injuries, but I don't feel like a hero at all. Just someone working on being the best he can every day. The entries on this list of my frustration of seeing such a price that other head injury survivors paid for their stubbornness because they thought they could know everything and no one could tell them any different. Take my friend Oliver, for example, and his lack of reasoning to keep a pill box or a blister pack with him to have easy access to it. It had every day of the week printed on the side so he could easily take what medication was required that day. Oliver didn't carry such a device around with him because simply it reminded him, and possibly others, that he was dependent on these meds. Remember that the best way to stay healthy is to accept a certain degree of dependence on things that you may need to stay healthy. Choose humiliation, if you have the gall to call it that, of using a blister pack over the humiliation of someone else that doesn't really care about you all that much, looking at you in an odd way.
Make sure that you take your meds at the same time every day that might coincide with your morning coffee, your meals, after brushing your teeth, or a shower, or at bedtime, except that you have to maintain a regular schedule and don't let your younger hip nephews or older once cool friends tell you that you're not a rad handicapped dude because you follow a routine now. Other helpful yet at times embarrassing aids were actually lifesavers during my recovery, like post-it notes all over the apartment to help me remember things that could cause me harm or danger. After a number of times of leaving the oven or iron plugged in, I decided to have my kitchen and other areas of my living establishment invaded by color post-it notes. On, off, cold, hot, and in case of fire were just a few of them that kept me safe. Oh yeah, I had a bright orange one labeled asshole to give anyone that made fun of the confetti-like design of my home. Other important points on my list is to always think before you speak. Now I know that a lot of head injury survivors are dealing with aphasia, and that getting and that getting the words out are hard sometimes. But remember that the longer it takes to find the words gives you more time to choose the right ones and that leave your mouth. A number of times I was so concerned about getting any word out quickly so others wouldn't think I was stupid, were the ones that came out the wrong, inappropriate, or rude ones. These words often hurt other people that were so kindly being patient with me, or worse, just humiliated myself. The most important tip to remember is that you're going to learn by failing. No matter how many times we get things right, we are bound to fail trying things we used to be able to do well without even thinking about it. Failure doing simple tasks after sustaining a head injury is really just a stepping stone to success. Think of failure like this: every decision you make has a 50% chance of success and a 100% guarantee to teach you something new in the process. And mostly, never be afraid to keep adding to your list. That would mean stopping doing something productive or helping yourself and others. This is certainly not who you are now. Just go and add that to your list.
Sharing allows for someone to give a new perspective on a problem. There are several settings in which one might wish to share their journal: in private or group therapy, with a trusted friend or loved one, or in this case, the purpose of being part of an important podcast. Depending on the setting, sharing your journal can open the opportunity for new perspectives. Here at the Blue Sheet Clubhouse, where we record Time to Talk Traumatic Brain Injury, the podcast, it is a safe space where survivors are never judged and are comfortable sharing their thoughts and perspectives with others. I want to thank all our survivors today for giving us the opportunity to listen to their personal journals. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people out on their journey to be healthy after an acquired brain injury. Thanks so much for joining us today on Time to Talk Traumatic Brain Injury, and we look forward to bringing you many more new, exciting, productive, and educational podcasts in the weeks to come. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are solely those of the Time to Talk TBI panel and other contributors. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of the Cridge Center for the Family Brain Injury Services staff. We value your feedback and comments. Please send us an email, or if you have any questions about brain injury, email us at tbipodcasts@cridge.org.